Good morning, everybody. My name is Ingrid Milson, and I'm in charge of international development for Tenerrdis Energy Cluster. We are the co-organizers of this webinar together with Minalogic. My colleague Quentin has already explained you a couple of things about the tool we are using to ask your questions and the problems. So, as a reminder, this webinar series is part of the SmartEnergy project and is part of a series of 4 different webinar series, each on a different topic organized by a different cluster. So we are getting to the end of this webinar series. The hydrogen webinars and energy communities webinars are already finished, but they will be available on replay. So if you're interested, feel free to ask questions about these. And we are currently in the 5th session of the Smart Grids webinar series. The Smart Buildings webinar series will start later. They are organized by our colleagues from Hungary, but it will be it has been delayed due to the COVID situation. So as a reminder, the Smart Energy project is a European project headed by Clever Cluster, which is an Italian energy cluster based in Piemonte, inside NV Park, for those who know this place. And we are together with Cluster Tweed, which is a Belgium cluster based in near Brussels, French-speaking part of Belgium, and Flux 50, which is another Belgium cluster, but for the Flemish-speaking part of the country. In France, both Tenerrdis and Minalogic are acting on this webinar, on this project. And as I mentioned, in Hungary, Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes is our partner. So we are now on April 1st, and we will learn today more about trends and innovative projects in smart grids, and I will give you a view of our agenda. We will start with a presentation by Patricia Sida from ADEME, and ADEME is our national agency for the energy transition, and Patricia will present the overall smart grid project landscape in France, thanks to a report that ADEME and Patricia have been producing recently, which is a very good overview of the results of many smart grid projects in our country. So we will have after a focus on different smart grid projects from other regions. We've opened up this session to cover the French territory, so we will do our small tour de France with a flex grid project from southern France, and then smart campus project from western part of France. Then we will have a small short break, and after the break we will have 2 presentations from the digital stakeholders. So one on from Cher Valadoé and one from a research and technology institute called Systemix. Then we will have a very short break and our matchmaking session. So we will remind you the link to register for the matchmaking, as you are able to request B2B with all the participants or speakers that are registered on the platform. So without further delay, I will give the floor to Patricia. Thank you, Patricia, for being with us. And you are welcome to make this presentation.
Well, thank you, Ingrid, for the kind invitation. Are you listening? Can you hear me nicely?
Yes, thank you. That's
okay,
fine.
Great. Okay. So thank you again. I'm very happy to be with you this morning to share some results about the smart grid project that the agency has been funding since 2010. So I'm gonna share my desktop.
You don't need to share. You can just use your keyboard to move the slides. All the
Okay. Oh,
presentation is
perfect.
there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Wonderful. Thanks. So, overview of smart grid projects, and with a strong focus on innovation. So just as a reminder, as Ingrid said, ADEME is the Agency for Ecological Transition based in France. And we've been working in the area of smart grids for many years now, so that they can allow integration of renewable energies on the grid. But since 2010, clearly there was an acceleration, and the state decided to fund more innovation projects in this area. So this morning I'm going to give you a snapshot of what we did in the last 10 years. The table of contents, I will start with a feedback on the report that has been published 1 year ago, Ingrid was talking about. Then I will give some examples of projects, 3 projects, quite different. And then I will finish with a few trends, ideas about the innovations to come in this field. Maybe as an introduction, I'll be talking about electric grid. So smart grid can be applied to the gas grid also, and also a bit to the district thermal networks. This morning I'll be talking about the electricity grid. So yes, since 2010, when we accelerated innovation in this field, the agency published a couple of reports in 2016 and 2020, 1 year ago. And this report allows to give a feedback on the public results on certain number of confidential projects. Basically, at the end of each project, we ask the partners of the project to share some results with the community, the smart grid community. So in these reports, of course, it's just the part of the iceberg that you see, the public results, and some results have been kept by the partners and are not shared, but we are very happy to share the public results. I think it's important. We think it's important for the smart grid community. And you can find these reports on the website of ADEME. So just a quick reminder, because I don't know who is in the audience this morning. So quickly, what is smart grids? So if we look at this image on the right-hand side, you can see in the middle, in the orange part, the network, the electricity network. So with the high voltage network on the upper part of this orange rectangle, in the middle, the medium voltage and the low voltage network. So the smart grids objects are a group of components that allows to give orders to communicate between them, and also to communicate with the human being, and using the digitization to communicate. So this is what a smart grid is. And smart grids allow to upgrade infrastructure for better integration of renewable energy, to adapt consumer patterns. So in terms of energy saving, but also flexibility, which means consuming energy at moments that are better for the electric system. And also they facilitate new local dynamics. So here you have a snapshot. So it's you have quite a lot of words on this slide, but it gives you a snapshot of what the agency has been funding since 2010. So if you look at these 9 red rectangles, the first one indicates 64 projects in the area of smart grid that have been funded in the last 11 years now. Then the second box towards the right, bit of details, kind of intern cuisine, but these projects, they are organized, they've been collected, they've been financed through 3 main channels. And then on the right hand side, 45 projects are closed, and 19, actually 21 now, because since March 2010 we have 2 more projects, so 21 ongoing projects. The second line, so 221 partners that have been funded. So it means 221 contracts between the agency and 1 laboratory, the agency and 1 company. And sometimes in these 221, you have twice the same laboratory, but maybe with a different department on a different project. So it's really more a number of contracts. With 76 very small enterprises or SMEs, so quite a lot of SMEs, and 47 contracts with public laboratories, for a total cost of total project cost of 428 million euros, and a total of funding of 127 million. So this 127 million split in 2 parts. One part are subsidies, and the other part corresponds to refundable advances, so which is that the state gives the money, funds the project, but expects money back if the project is a success. If it's not a success, then it becomes a subsidy. Third line, so 12 call for projects have been organized, and we are proud to say that 2 of them were European. So we managed to take part in 2 calls, 2 ERANET calls. I will see later on in the presentation. And and then a couple of boxes that are less interesting, I think, for today. But yeah, keep in mind 64 projects. So today 66. So it's quite an intense effort. But you have to know also that ADEME is not the only institution to fund smart grid projects in France. The partners themselves, they have their own innovation projects, of course. But what we've seen in the evaluation of the program is that these projects that are collaborative projects with several partners, several laboratories, they allow new collaborations. So yeah, they are a bit different from what is done normally in the area of innovation for smart grid projects. So these projects are located a bit everywhere in France, but we see that some areas are more, have more spots on the map. So Brittany, and also the southeastern part of France, and of course Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes is very active in the area also, and the southern region of Occitanie is quite active. And then you have the area near Paris, mostly the SMEs in the area of digitization. And they don't. Sometimes they do demonstration. They do demonstrate on electricity grids. Sometimes not. But these SMEs startups are mainly located in Île-de-France, but also in Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes, as you will see in the next, the 6th session with ODT and other companies. So yeah, these locations, the locations of the demonstrators, they correspond to local electricity system patterns, so with kind of problems. So in Brittany and in the southeastern part, there are areas with specificities in terms of electricity system, but also the political support is very important to initiate, to launch this project. So in Occitanie, a lot of political support, and also in Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes. So in the report, we've kind of classified the projects. You can classify them in many ways. This is one classification. On the right-hand side, so you have these three columns. The first column is, we've named it upgrade infrastructure for better integrations of renewable energies. I'll be talking about post-intelligent and restable, and restable actually, later on in the presentation. And then a second group of projects about adapting consumption patterns. And I'll be talking about the TBH Alliance project afterwards. And on the right-hand side, these are the projects that are not easily classified or organized around the topic. So that's interesting. And these are mainly the trends, the recent trends in innovation. We'll talk about this also. So let's move on to some examples. So first, let's start with the Restable project, which is an ERANET project, so European project with European partners and French partners. So the French part of the project has been funded by the Investment for the Future program, in which I work, with 100% subsidies. So this project was coordinated by the laboratory Armin, and with 6 partners. SPUL, located in Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes, but also Artelis for modeling part, NG Green, who provided the project with renewable energy power plants to experiment on. Hydronext to explore the possibility of aggregating renewable energy power plants, and the Fraunhofer who developed the aggregation part of the project. So the Restore project has developed or improved 4 technologies. A tool for forecasting the availability of reserves for virtual renewable power plants. So why virtual? It's because the power plants are located far from each other. As we'll see on the next slide, you have wind power plants in Germany and also in the north of France, and photovoltaic power plants in the south of France, and they are controlled from the same building, let's say, and their production is aggregated. So we see this with consumption sites. So this project looked at aggregating production power plants, so which is quite well. At least in 2016, it was very, very new. Second technology, an auction participation tool to assist the operators of the virtual power plants for the sale of energy and system services on the European electricity and reserve markets. So in this project, they looked really at the frequency, how the renewable energy power plants could contribute to frequency, not to tension. Tension is in another project, a European project called Regions. It's ongoing. So it's stable, focused really on the frequency. So as I said, it managed a virtual power plant tool composed exclusively of variable renewable energy generation plants. And they developed information and communication infrastructures, as well as automated systems in open protocols, allowing measurement, calculation of a production reference and control command systems at the frequency appropriate to the provision of frequency system services. So it means that renewable energy power plants really can bring support to the electricity. So here on the right-hand side, you see the map of the European demonstrators, as I was saying, wind power plants in Germany and also in the north of France, and photovoltaic power plants in the south, with the control. Actually, the area where they control this virtual power plant is within the Fraunhofer building. I won't read everything or tell you everything, but what I could say that the 4 technologies that I mentioned earlier are mature and can be deployed. So it really brought the partners to something which is pretty operational, which is quite exception for an ERANET project, not that common. So it has been a success and led to the regions project that looks into tension products. Intelligent, so smart substations in English. It has been coordinated by the TSO, the French TSO RTE, with 5 partners. General Electric, Nokia, and also Enedis, the DSO, Schneider Electric, and Minalogic. So the project has developed digital components for transport network infrastructures in substations. So the substations, which is at the limit between the HGB and HTA, so the high voltage network and the medium voltage network. So it's kind of the substation of the future, with lots of captors in it, and trying to communicate with the distribution network also. So control and command systems that have been developed, high voltage equipment like the DLR, monitoring solutions, and some controllers as well, specific to kind of objects. You see a picture of the substation that has been equipped during the project. So it's a substation located in an area with a lot of wind power nearby and almost no local consumption. So it was a particular configuration on the grid, and a need to digitize the substation. So here you have the main functions of the smart substations. Let's say that what is very new, it was really to anticipate some meteorological events with captors, trying to anticipate incidents, and they worked a lot on how to intervene when an incident is produced, how to manage differently the people that will intervene. Very, very interesting work in this project that the results were used in many projects afterwards, because it's already quite an old project that finished in 2017. Since then, the TSO RTE, for example, worked in the R-Space project, and they used quite a lot of results of post-intelligent in the European R-Space project. So time is flying, so I have to accelerate, I think. Then TBH Alliance, coordinated by a medium-sized company called EcoCO2, with 4 partners: Arcos, Fluidia, CGI, and Lutin User Lab. And so the TBH stands for Tableau de bord de l'habitat, meaning home dashboard. And back in 2014, there was a question of what was the best tool to incentivize the consumer to diminish his consumption, his or her consumption, or consume at different moments. And so the TBH Alliance partners carried out a survey in details with 3,200 French consumers under real condition and over a year. And they tested a real-time display of their electricity consumption and the related analysis and advices to save energy. Maybe one result is that for some consumers, an energy saving of 10% of their normal consumption had been reached for heavy electricity consumers, mostly optimizing electric heating. So they concluded that energy display devices seem more suitable for heavy energy consumers. You have many other results that came out of this project, and they listed all the results in a white paper that you can find in the report at the end of the report, the ADEME report. And but yes, this is one of the results, and another result important. The study also I highlighted the need for consumers to become acculturated with energy concepts and the need for a gradual increase in competence. So really, if you want the consumption, the savings to last, to happen and then to last in time, there is a need to accompany the consumer. It's not magic. To conclude, future trends, innovation. So I've prepared one slide. Sorry, we could talk very long about this topic. Short term, what we see, so it was really the third column that you saw on the slide where I was showing the 64 projects. It's the last column. This project, they work on local energy sharing. So there is a trend. Then, well, there are some problems with the economic equilibrium that is still to be found, and also there is a need to give visibility about tariffs, subsidies for these local energy sharing projects. So it's taking time, but it's happening. Microgrids. So some projects, we've seen some projects, not especially funded by ADEME, but we've seen quite a lot of projects, especially in the on the connected European area. Multi-vector interactions and multi-energy systems. So it's a topic we've been talking about for several years now. It corresponds to many, it has many subtopics in it, but there is one project that deals with taking the best out of the smart metering infrastructure for water management, electricity management, and gas network, so in the north of France. And then, of course, the data, and which is really the gold. So regional data and data platforms. So how to share raw data. So I'm talking here about data engineering. Really, the first step, very important step. How to get clean raw data, and then you transform them. But really, in this project, we see the importance of data engineering, the first step to prepare the data, to collect them, and it's not that easy. And of course, to respect the RGPD. I think RGPD is in French, but you know, the confidentiality personal data. Other topics that have been mentioned by the TSO recently. So there is a need for a better PV production forecast, also wind, but from the TSO perspective, the PV production forecast is has its own features, and we need more innovation in this area. Also, there will be a need, because there will be a need of more cables, whatever, more renewable energy means more cables, okay, deployed in a smart way, but more cables. So there will be a need of consultation with citizens, and probably we need innovation in this area, how to do this smartly, so that citizens can accept more cables, and which means more renewable energy. Flexibility sources, so any type of flexibility sources, it has to be explored. Storage, of course, but also interconnections and demand side management. Medium and long term. So again, I've written multi-vector interaction and multi-energy system because we are only at the beginning. Still innovation needed in this area, not only technological innovation, but also organizational, how the stakeholders communicate better, make project together better, because here in France, at least, this gas, electricity, and heat are sectors that are still a bit separated, although there is since 3 or 4 years more interaction between the gas and electricity actors. But yeah, it's we need innovation, not only technological innovation, but also innovation in the organization, in the territories. Of course, resilience to climate change. So it implies components, of course, that are resilient to different temperatures, different external conditions, and also, as we've seen in post-intelligent, captures that will allow measurements of environmental parameters. But lots of innovation in this area of resilience to climate change and to extreme events. Flexibility solutions, innovations to come on the consumption side and also on the production side. Storage again can be electrochemical, but we can think of other solutions of storage at different level in the grids, but of course conditioned by an economic rentability. Interconnections, demand side management, and more interaction, of course, between TSO and DSO. It will happen. Then more in the future, continuous current topics at the building level or in the renewable energy connection to the grid, because the objects that are produced, that are connected, more and more to the grid, are objects working with the continuous current. So of course there is an interrogation about why transform this continuous current into an alternative current. Lots of innovation to come in this area. And also grid farming. Grid farming, this is one example also, among others. And I think that's it for me. We could talk more about this, future topics, but still a lot of innovation to come in smart grids, and it's going to be, I think, very interesting in the coming years. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Patricia. That was a very good overview of what's happening in France with regard to this topic, and with a zoom on 3 different projects that cover the whole value chain. So I think it was interesting for everyone to have this kind of examples. And for more details, again, this report, which is available only in French, but we have a lot of French-speaking people around this virtual webinar. So thank you again. I don't see any question for you. So I guess this was clear, and I will. Yes, thank you, and I will give the floor to our next speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you. Who is Raphaël Rinaldi from Cap Energy cluster in southern France. Raphaël is somehow like myself for Cap Energy cluster in charge of European and international affairs, and also the head of the Flex Grid project, which is a very wide program. I don't see yet Raphaël connected. Maybe Patricia, you can switch off your camera.
Yes.
Raphaël, do you hear me? Raphaël, normally you can activate your microphone and your camera directly at the bottom of the screen where you can see me.
Sorry, we have a slight problem connecting with Raphaël.
Normally, you must allow your computer to access to your microphone and your camera. Maybe that's a problem. At the top of the screen, you have the link, and at the left of the link, normally you can. Okay. Alors, il a essayé de se déconnecter pour se reconnecter. On va attendre un peu.
Okay, I guess Raphaël is trying to reconnect, so feel free to relax a few minutes, and sorry for that. It's always an adventure to be working on a webinar, and this time we have a slight problem with Raphaël.
Ah, ouais. Bah non, en plus, attends. Ouais, je pense qu'on va faire ça. Raphaël, just to be sure, I will share my screen. Normally here, you can see my the mouse. Normally at the left of the link, at the top of the screen, here you can allow your computer to access to your microphone and your camera. Can you say to me if it's okay for you, or if there is a problem? Sinon j'appelle. Hop.
Otherwise, if we don't get Raphaël back, we will get to the next speaker.
Attends, on va peut-être passer à Bruno Lacarrière.
Jocelyn Boursier.
Ouais, mais il n'est pas encore là. Bruno Lacarrière, peut-être sinon. Non, il n'est pas là non plus. Lionel Scrémin. Lionel, is it okay for you if you can pass now? Lionel, do you hear me? Are you here? If you can activate your microphone and your camera to pass now, if it's okay for you. Si, je l'ai mis en animateur. Bonjour Lionel, vous m'entendez?
Hello. Yes, I'm hearing you well. I'm just checking with my colleagues if they are ready, but I guess we'll be okay. Just give me a few seconds.
Okay. Ouais, je sais. Hop.
Sorry again for this technical problem, and we will be back on stage quickly as Lionel is rapidly checking on his colleagues, because they are he's not the only one making the presentation. He has asked for some colleagues as well to be with us.
Maybe if you want, you can take a break for 5 minutes, everybody. If you want to take a coffee, okay, and we will come back in 5 minutes. Okay.
Et en plus, il y a 3 ans de
Raphael, do you hear me? If you can maybe try to activate your microphone and your camera. Ah, Raphael, do you hear me? Okay,
Yes.
super. Okay, that's okay. Thank you very much. Jocelyn, on va faire passer d'abord Raphaël, du coup, parce qu'il a réussi finalement à se connecter, c'est tout bon.
As you want. I can switch. Is it?
No, well, that's okay. You can go, Raphaël, if you want.
Okay. Sorry for the inconvenience. So please, could you go to the first slide? Martin or Ingrid, if you... Okay. Perfect. Thanks a lot. So can you hear me well? Yes?
Yes,
Okay.
we can. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm Raphaël Rinaldi. I'm EU International Director at Energy's cluster. So before we start presenting FlexRead, I will say just a few words about Energy. Energy is a cluster based in southern region of France, in Aix-en-Provence and Nice. We have more than 500 members. and more than 1,800 also partners in Europe and also outside Europe. We are active in 4 territories, which are the southern region, of course, but also Corsica, Guadeloupe, Île de la Réunion, and also we have a partnership with the Monaco region. Okay, so next slide. So let's say that just to introduce, so CapEnergy mission is to organize, bring together, and manage a leading ecosystem to breed innovation. So mainly on 3 main focus area, which are so the decarbonation of usage, so the use of energy, so carbon emissions, and improve energy efficiency in transport, buildings, industry, optimize and secure local energy systems, which of course include smart grids. And the third area is to produce low carbon energy. Okay, so now I will talk about FlexGrid program. So the FlexGrid is let's say a group. It's a number of projects. So it's not one project. It's a program. It's a program led by the region south of France, Provence-Alpes-Côte d'Azur, and which was born in 2016 after a national call about smart grids, in order to deploy smart energy systems over the whole territory of the region south. We have many public and private partners, and of course we also involve the network operators, so Enedis as the distribution, the DSO, RTE as the TSO, and other big players, but not only. We also have a large number of small and medium companies that we help to foster innovation and to create collaborative projects. So the difference between FlexGrid program and other the list of demonstrators in the area of smart grids is that we really try to create exemplary sites and industrial solutions. So we are not leading demonstrators. We are trying to deploy full-scale smart grid solution in order to make them commercially viable. So that's the difference. We are technology readiness level very high. We are not usually we don't have research and innovation projects like Horizon 2020 in FlexGrid. We have some of them, but the major projects are related to full-scale deployment. So that's the difference. Okay, so the public investment of the region south aims at really to have a multiplier effect. So they want to that's a joint program with public and private. So with 5 million invested by the region south in the multi-year FlexGrid program, we follow and we try to support a total investment of more than 400 million euros. So it seems very low if you compare the investment of the region and the total amount of the projects, but still we are in the industrial phase, so we really support industrial company to deploy their projects, which are already or almost commercially viable. So the region 5 years ago, the FlexGrid program was born out of a desire to facilitate the development of renewable energies. So we are looking back at 2014 in a logic of sobriety and carbon reduction. So the southern region, which was winner of a call for expression of interest from the national government, has put in place an original, agile and participatory approach, which aims to bring its territories into a new industrial phase. So we try to create up to 80 projects. Among them, 46 projects are ongoing, And FlexGrid brought together those actors, so public actors like communities, education, research structures, the regulator as well, and private actors, so companies, but also small and medium companies, startups, to identify virtuous energy projects, accelerate the energy transition, allocate the resources necessary to deploy those projects, gain experience and share this experience with other projects and with other actors, participate in all the territories of the South region. So we have the chance to have a diversity in terms of different kinds of area, like the sea, the land, mountains, but also industrial sites. And we try to organize regular meetings between the project leaders and all the key stakeholders, such as local authorities, policymakers, to make them feasible and possible, to accelerate those projects to be deployed. So we have 4 families of projects. So we tried to follow a different an approach based on the territory and the needs from the territory, which means that we are not only focusing on technical aspects. So we rely on technical pillars, of course, but we try to identify what are the needs. For example, in the economy sector, what are the needs for the industrial, for the, I don't know, transport nodes? What are the needs for smart cities and territories? The needs to integrate smart mobility, and to the needs about for producers of renewables. So there are, in those 4 families, we have now 46 projects, and all are supported by a basic, by a base ground, let's say, from the network operators, which are RTE and Enedis, who invested almost 40 million euro, especially in south of France, to anticipate the deployment of those projects. So they anticipate to early start the deployment of smart meters, for example. So to have all the basic background in order to support the creation of those projects. So that's a joint public project. We are now at the end of this program, so we are evaluating the results of this project. And we also have cross-disciplinary actions, like mobilizing our small and medium companies to adapt their solutions, to foster innovation, to encourage the exportation of solutions, so international actions. And so we organize international events. We deal about cybersecurity, training, and a lot of work on data as well. Okay, so we have concrete projects, so we try to build showcases, and in order to invite as a delegation. So in this period, that's a bit complicated, but usually we try to show what is possible and what is happening in order to better integrate the renewables, and to show that we can have saving, we can gain revenues for example, industrial, but also in other fields like agriculture and mobility. So we try to foster synergies between the electricity, the energy sector in general, and other sectors. So that's key. We are not focusing on smart grids like intelligent solutions based on the grid, not only. So we of course, in some projects there were new services dedicated to the grids in order to offer flexibility. But in turn, we also try to develop solutions to have local benefits. So to get flexibility, for example, to better manage an exploitation of agriculture, for example, but also to better manage industrial processes. So to develop solution within industrial site or within project. We will see some example. So based on technical pillars, of course, we identify the needs of local projects. So for what based on local conditions, for example, looking at the let's say the seasons, for example, because in case of storage, you can have seasonal storage or daily storage. So based on local parameters, on what kind of flexibility we can leverage, we deployed the solutions and we adapted them, focusing on the different projects. So based on those, we applied the solutions to use cases. So we now have 20 use cases among the 46 projects to create flagship projects in the region, so involving smart grid solutions locally developed but replicable at global level, and creating open showcasing, so offering access also for solution providers to wider markets. Some examples of projects, or just to show you that we are in order, if you want to deploy and to get the solutions not only accepted but really integrated by new players and especially end users, we need to explain what are the smart grids, not only from the technical point of view, but what could be the benefits for those energy players that are new in the field. So, for example, if we take the example of a ski resort, Les Or, in the Alps, their need is to decrease the energy consumption, to better manage the energy consumption, and maybe also then once we have a better sobriety, we try to develop. They want to integrate renewables and to have more self-consumption. So we need to understand what they want. So they want to decrease their consumption. They want to save money, and that's key. We cannot explain those project leaders the need for the grid operators. It's only that the grid operators need flexibility. So you need to change your behavior. We need to understand what are their needs, what are their local needs, and to create solutions which are customized. So Les Or has optimized its energy management and already saved more than 20% of its consumptions just by putting some, let's say, a board with let's say, we can see all the consumption with the different points of consumption of the ski resorts and to better manage them. If we really have a full monitoring, that's key. First of all, you need monitoring and a very good granularity of consumption, so then you can optimize them. It seems to be very basic, but a lot of end users or industrial or buildings do not deploy this first simple step. The Marseille Provence Airport is the same thing. They wanted to decrease the energy consumption, so with a better efficiency of the buildings, and then to deploy PV panels and also chargers for electric vehicles to offer new services for their customers. S3 is an agricultural area, in the agriculture and industrial project, let's say, because it's a storage of mills. So basically, they can control their cold area and the cold engines to offer flexibility to the network and gain some revenues by selling these services to the energy network. So, this could be replicated in many other industries. And if we look at the panel of industrial sites, we see that only a few of them already deployed such kind of control systems. And that's not really difficult to deploy. Those solutions are mature. They are existing. We have a lot of players. We have a lot of solution providers. But simply, I think a lot of them do not have this priority or they don't realize that they could do they could deploy simple solutions to better manage their energy. Nice Meridia project in Nice is a full-scale application of smart grids on the scale of an urban district of more than 350,000 meters square, with tertiary sector, shops, educational premises, and housing units. Those projects are still ongoing, and of course they are depending on building on the creation of new new districts. So that the first results are difficult to be measured, because we need to have we are depending on other deadlines that are linked to not only to the energy sector but on the building sector. That's one of the major let's say barrier in terms in the building sector, is that the energy is not whatever solutions you want to deploy, you need to have the infrastructure to do it. Some other project, Interconnect, that's a Horizon 2020 project, but to deploy solutions about smart cities basically beyond the meters. The converging digital homes and buildings in the electricity sector. So Flexi is a project led by EDF, which involves different kinds of renewables, so large hydropower plants, to help and to decrease the variability of PV and wind power plants. So that's a kind of support from hydro to other smaller plants, in order to have a flatter or more predictable energy generations. So the difference between this project was because, of course, hydropower plants can be controlled, but we try to go in a very close to real-time control of the energy produced by the hydropower plant. And Jupiter 1000, Jupiter 1000, that's a power-to-gas demonstrator. In that case, this is a demonstrator because we are dealing about hydrogen. And look at 5 years ago, we never spoke about the possibility to include hydrogen, but in a multi-energy perspective, we now foresee the interest of hydrogen. So we need to develop hydrogen solutions as a as a storage possibility, and conversion from different energy vectors to globally optimize the energy systems. So let's say to conclude, we need to change the energy model. No, but also you all know that we are going from a centralized energy system to decentralized, etc. But really, what we really need is to offer education and sensibilization. So the ambition of FlexGrid is to offer everyone, citizens and industrials, way to switch to a low carbon and plural energy model, in which the consumer is a player in the energy transition. That's also a request, of course, from citizens. We can observe it. We can feel this interest, and that's an opportunity. But we need to give support and to explain so we need to explain how the energy sector works, and what can all the citizens can be, how they can be involved, and how they can participate to this change. So the end user, of course, can reduce its consumption. They can consume differently. They can act on their production and choose carbon-free energy, in particular electricity for mobility. But one of the objectives of FlexGrid is also to organize sessions to make it more really understandable, and to explain what are the challenges and how we need to change. About the export, because of course In Europe, in general, let's say that the electricity is quite cheap and reliable. We must admit that we don't really need local energy production because the grid is not the grid is not reliable, not at all. So what we can do is to have some savings, but in some cases, most of the solutions could be applied outside France and outside Europe. And for example, if you look at the local grid, microgrid solutions, for example, but other solutions combining PV panels with storage, those solutions could be exported in areas where either the electricity grid is not fully reliable or we don't have any grid at all, and there is an opportunity to export. So we try to organize international events and to support our members and our companies to participate in international events as well. So that's a key aspect of Flex Grid program as well. And for one example is the Energy for Smart Mobility event that we organized since 2018. So now this year we'll organize the 4th edition of this event, because we saw that in Europe we had there is a lot of events about mobility and a lot of events about energy, but the convergence of energy and mobility was not so evident some years ago. So we decided to create this event to make actors from both sectors discuss and push for collaboration. So sensibilizing, as I explained a little bit about the end consumers. So FlexGrid has highlighted the strong need for education and knowledge sharing between all economic players. In 2019, we started to make awareness raising actions to help industries, but also public authorities, communities, to talk about those projects, to show what can be done. And this work needs to be continued over the years. And now the new economic models appears as well as new technology. So that's not the end of the FlexGrid program. That's only the beginning. If we want to achieve a 2050 very low carbon energy system. So everything is also going very quickly, and thanks to digital technologies, of course, we still have a lot of new solutions to be deployed. So we expect now new demonstrators about, let's say, for example, artificial intelligence, but also other projects, including hydrogen, for example, to continue this creation of innovation, which help the optimization of the energy system, and we will help then the public authorities to reach their carbon targets. So I think I come to the end. So in conclusion, in 5 years, so we have successfully fulfilled the roadmap by deploying concrete achievements, and we help the acceleration of the energy transition, at least in South region. That's a record of a source of inspiration beyond the borders of the region in order to prepare the future and truly enter in a new energy era. So some projects are still ongoing, so we need to wait to have the full results of those projects, but that's at least they are already started, and we are on the good way to accelerate change scale and to reach the new to the goals and towards 2030 and 2050. Okay, if you have any questions, I will be pleased to answer them if I can. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Raphael.
For the invitation.
Thank you for this presentation. I think it was very complementary to Patricia's presentation, which was more focused on R&D and innovation projects. And as you mentioned, you are lower on or higher on the TRL levels. I don't think we have any question for you for the moment. So anyway, the chat remains open for question. So thank you. And now we will move to western part of France with Smart Campus Enedis Nantes project presented by Jocelyn Boursier from Enedis. Jocelyn, are you with us? Yes, I see. If you can activate your mic. Yeah, perfect. I give you the floor. Thank you, Jocelyn.
Okay, thank you. I think you will, I don't need to charge my, to upload my presentation, right? You already have it.
Yeah, you can move, you can by yourself, yeah.
Okay.
Switch slides on your PC.
Here we go. Hello, everyone. So my name is Jocelyn Boursier. I am a territorial director for Enedis in Vendée, and I'm the head as well as of our smart grid regional team in Pays de la Loire. So we are working on many projects, and I will just talk about this very specific project called Smart Campus and introduce to you the main goals of this project. So this specific project called Smart Campus reflects both our strong implication in ecological transition and our constant intention to understand client perception and use cases. As it was said before, its main issue. We collaborate for this with the association SMILE in the region Bretagne and Pays de la Loire. And so we aim to promote the French and regional industrial and smart ecosystem. As it was said before, just before, this project has pedagogic and vulgarization ambitions as well, which is the main issue right now. Finally, we seek for exemplarity on our own infrastructures. As an example of this orientation, and we have the second largest electric vehicle fleet in France with 2,500 electric vehicles right now. So we are talking about integrating to the grid an optimized hub consisting in one, a photovoltaic structure of 29 kilowatts, an aerovoltaic structure of 1 kilowatt that provides heat to the Gardens Lodge, and a battery of 90 kilowatt hours capacity, 5 docking stations for electric vehicles with 21 kilowatt power each, which is, let's say, slow, middle speed charging for vehicles. And at last but not least, data visualization, data viz, that provides electric, economic, and environmental data that is brought to the showroom, to the SMILE showroom that is a few meters away. Sorry, I have a screen issue right now. Oh, it's okay.
It's okay.
No, it's fine. This project has 4 main technical ambitions, which are measure the overall impact of new uses, such as self-consumption, battery stocking, charge of electric vehicles, and so on. So this impact on the electricity public grid. The second technical ambition is to exploit data to create new profiles of injection and production to make our forecast more accurate, and to ease up the development of the charging systems of electric vehicles, and at last to back up the development of new models based on renewable energy, which is combined with 4 strategic orientations, being a role model for on our heritage, which means on our own infrastructure. I talked about that before. Cast a light on our contribution to the Metropolitan Solar Plan, be a partner for the region that brought on the table a very ambitious plan for energetic transition with financing, and work on the area of societal acceptability of data coming from counting operations. I'll just rewind a little bit to contextualize this presentation with a quick presentation of our company, Enedis. So just in a few words, Enedis missions. So, well, as you know, Enedis is the main electricity distribution grid operator in France. We cover 95% of the territory. We serve 36 million consumption points and 450 injection points in France. We exploit and modernize the grid. We help the towns to cities to concretize their projects. We manage and regulate the grid from afar with smart technologies. We take care of incidents in any day, anytime, under any weather conditions. We measure the consumptions data for the suppliers and the electricity manufacturers, and we link customers' injection to the grid. So our main activities, said otherwise, are the integration of renewable energies, the development of electric mobility, the appearance of new ways of consumption and innovative services, the digitalization of the electric grid, and the development of the open data that you can find online on our website. The support offered to the collectivities to help them to elaborate their energy policies. So I'll just move on. As I said before, we actually connect to the grid 442,000 injection points. Let's say that it represents around 30 gigawatts of capacity right now on the French distribution grid. More or less the same on the transmission grid, which means around 50-60 gigawatts of renewable in France. And just as a gross figure to make it easy and simple to remember, we have to double it for 2030 to reach the goals of the multi-annual energy plan. So you can imagine what ambition it means and what operational pressure it means, which is basically a great opportunity for everyone. The distribution network plays a key role in the energy transition. We ease the insertion of renewables and contribute to the reinforcement of energy efficiency. We look to improve the control on the electric system. And so that's one of the main goal of this modest but very interesting project called Smart Campus. So this campus is located on the regional Pays de la Loire headquarters of Enedis. So in the very center of the city of Nantes, just next to a substation, a big substation that is serving a very big part of the city. So there was the first version of the project with a solar tracker, designed as an individual self-consumption tool for the Smile showroom, and 5 docking stations. We made it evolve to a more smarter project with the integration of more of solar generation for 30 kilowatts, a battery of 90 kilowatts, as I said, public database, and an EMS. So all these parts of the B2 is actually under tender. So we didn't deliver yet all these issues, but we are actually building all this. So to the risk of disappointing a few of you, I won't be able to give you an overview of the results, as it will be a next step for 2021-22. So to sum it up on a more graphic way, you can see that the electricity distribution network is linked to an EMS, energy management system. that itself works as a hub for several use cases. But the first one is a solar panel. Second one is heat for the Guardian's Lodge, but electricity as well from the storage and from the solar panel. As I just said, a storage battery of 90 kilowatts, 5 docking stations, and the data. All this is linked to the EMS. And the EMS is linked to a specific tool we developed, and we placed it in the secondary distribution substation. And so we called it a pin key. A pin key is actually a link key that is not green but pink. But this is not the main difference between this tool and link key. We actually used the link key part as of web hub, and we connected it to the different captures we have on the substation to measure everything that happens on the grid, such as power, intensity, temperatures, and so on, to measure the impact of this smart use case of Smart Campus on the grid. So that basically is it. I tried to be as fast as possible, considering we were a little bit late today. So I will just finish with the introduction of our different partners. So we have several partners such as E4V for the battery, Sister E for the solar panels, Drop and Plug for the charging docks. Acajul and S2E2, S2E2 are helping us with supervising the overall operation. We have a partnership with North Métropole and the region of Pays de la Loire, and Smile, of course. So this is it. I don't know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Jocelyn, for your presentation and for being very concise. We are back on time. Our audience has not yet requested any question, but someone is writing. I'm checking to see if that's a question for you or not. Maybe not. Feel free to ask your question. Yes, we have a question. Quentin will display it to all. How much will the parking lots be used?
This is an excellent question. So basically, this is one of the conclusions we want to bring from this experimentation. But basically, on the overall energy fleet of electric vehicles, we have quite a good use of the electric vehicles on the pools. Basically, around 40% of their free time, which means that it can be improved a lot. But there is a quite good use of the parking lots at the moment.
Thank you. We have more questions now. So, is Pinky available for other initiatives or experimentations outside Enedis?
So the answer is no, as this is a tool developed for us and by us, and we didn't think of delivering the tool on concurrential markets. But this is a question that I will explore, because it's an interesting question. I will tell the truth, we didn't even think of it. But just to say, this is a tool we use in many other experimentations, such as overview online displays for collectivities, for cities, that is delivering them information on the real-time consumption and injection on their territory, for example. We are using it. We use it as well for other experimentations, such as La Fleurier, close to Nantes, where we tried and we actually succeeded to manage the solar panels to reduce their impact on the grid. So we use it in many other places, but with all the partners, but always on our network with our own overview.
Next question, is there any optimization for the 5 points of charge?
So this is an issue we are trying to address. If you have any idea or if you want to work with us on that, feel free to contact us. We actually want to do it, and we haven't reached the best level we can reach on that. So we are looking for partners in this.
Maybe you can add your email address, Jocelyn, on the chat for everyone to, or at least for this person to be able to contact you back.
Yes, but this is part on this specific project. This is part of the issues we're addressing with drop and plug. But on other, I was talking about other sites, other places. As I said, we have 2,500 vehicles, so electric vehicles. So we actually have many possibilities to work on that. Charging optimization or V2G. So charging optimization only at the moment. But we are thinking of V2G, which means injection on the network. We are not doing it at the moment on this site.
Thank you. You were so fast as answering the question. So I guess that's it for the moment. Thank you again. Thank you, everyone. We have now time for a short break before the next presentation by Bruno Lacarrière on data added value for energy at 10:35. So back on stage in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back, everybody. I see that Bruno is ready, ready to start.
Yes.
Thank you, Bruno, for being with us today. So as I explained at the beginning of our webinar this morning, we are now going to have 2 presentations tackling the digital side of smart grids. And I'm happy to have Bruno Lacarrière from Cher Valadoé talk about data added value for energy for us. So thank you, Bruno, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. I hope you can hear me well.
Yes, we do perfectly.
Okay. So just testing. Okay, I can manage the presentation.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you for this invitation, which is an opportunity to present this partnership or this program, which is an applied research-oriented program. Based on the idea of extracting the most of possible information of data shared between different stakeholders in order to make the local solutions for energy transition as much as possible efficient, let's say. So you have on this first slide the link for the website of this program, and of course my email in case you would like any further information on our activity. So this will be presented through a description of the context and what was the genesis of this program. Because it is important in order to understand the philosophy and how we work with the different partners. Then I will introduce the program itself and, of course, a kind of highlight on the ongoing works, scientific works, because as said, it's research-oriented, even if it is applied research. And I will conclude with the next steps and the possible collaborations or the involvement of other partners. So let's start with this genesis or the origin of the collaboration. It's been a long process. Officially, the program started in November 2018. With the first works initiated middle of 2019. But prior to starting these works, it was a long process of discussions in order to catch the interest of the different possible partners linked to the actuality of the energy transition. So just to summarize the discussion and how we conclude on the necessity or the relevance of collaborate all together, I will introduce the partners in 2 minutes. We started from the understanding of something which is obvious, so to say, which is the energy efficiency by the local integration of the different flows of energy, represented there with the example of electricity, gas, and thermal energy carriers. And the most well-known application of this optimization is the case of industrial plants, for which it's a normal business to try to optimize things because it's only connected to the economic efficiency. But this has been challenged with the concept of Industry 4.0, which is the massive deployment of IoTs, and which is one of the source of generation of data, which will be questions in our program. Then, of course, we also know the capacity of industrial plants to collaborate together in order to have some local exchanges and not only matter exchanges, but also energy transfers between different sites in order to have more global efficiency and not only the local efficiency of the processes. And then the rest of the analysis or the questioning by this 2 years brainstorming session was the connection with the local energy context. And then comes the urban area and the other use of energy. And at the same time, I underlined the transformation of industry with the massive development of IoT in order to get closer to the on-time efficiency, not only in your own processes, but also with the surrounding processes of other industrial parts. So at the same time, we have this transformation. We still have this transformation of cities to smart cities. Smart cities, as everybody know now, is a concept based not only on data and smart management based on artificial intelligence or modeling aspects, but it's also a transformation of the energy use, the energy production, and the mechanisms for exchanging this energy. So we have, due to the decentralized policy of energy production, we have to deal with the integration of renewable, yes, but also with the local production by entities becoming part of the time consumers, part of the time producers. And these mechanisms of distributed generation, distributed consumption, and also distributed storage capacity, if we introduce, for instance, the development of electrical vehicles, is a challenge for local authorities in partnership with industries involved in the energy issue. It's a challenge in order to forecast or to foresee what would be the best organizations of things. In this context, I try to summarize with this simple figure. But this figure is only one aspect of the issue, what we can call the technology layer. So to summarize, this technology layer can be represented as multi-carrier energy systems, meaning the combination in the objective of becoming the most efficient as possible. So this multi-carrier energy systems is a combination of technologies. So with the existing ones, but also developing ones, promising technologies. If we think about all the technologies to convert power to something else. We have also a challenge regarding the distribution networks, not only in the way they are implemented, but also in the way they will be operated. In particular, if we think about the local symbiosis between the different energy networks, electricity, gas, and thermal networks. So we have in this layer as a drawback of this the modeling and optimization issues, which are also questions because, of course, industries and local authorities already use such modeling and optimization tools, but the challenges are not the same as they were if we imagine this global integration of things at the local scale. And then we have all the necessary tools for energy data analysis and decision aiding, because in the end it is the final objective in order to have the means to decide. So that was the first layer, the technology layer. Added to this layer, we have the provision of data, as said first by the massive use of IoT, not only in industry, but in any sectors. we have in parallel different attempts to centralize this data or for scheme of sharing them between the partners. We have some experiences of urban platforms or local platforms in order to see how it would be possible to collaborate. We have some initiatives like the self-data, which is the possibility for individual entities to share their own data. We have, of course, the usual and the classical industrial monitoring and the smarter devices, which are linked to the communication aspects. So this was the second layer. And then we have the third layer, which is the diversity of stakeholders in link with the diversity, in connection with the diversity of objectives and interests. So among the stakeholders, we all know them. So the local authorities and the decision makers, of course, the energy network operators, electricity, gas and thermal networks, the energy companies, what I mentioned just before, the end users, possibly prosumers, and the industries. And in parallel of these different stakeholders, we have different economic models, from the most open one to the most closed one. So we have the public services, the usual private models regarding the data, I mean. We have also some models of entrepreneurship based on the use of shared data, which is also an objective or something important in what I mentioned just before, in the experiences of sharing the data thanks to platforms and the data of economy. So based on that, the different parties involved in this brainstorming conclude on the need of trying to address this issue by crossing the different layers I presented briefly there. And then came or born this project, Valado in French, which is the acronym for Valeur ajoutée à la donnée énergie, in English, added value of energy data for local energy integration. So the objective of the program born after this analysis is to transform the data into a useful information for moving to raw data to the application mechanisms of decision or management. So the interface of the different part of this knowledge transformation is identified as an opportunity to generate this added value. But because of the diversity, or I mentioned just before, the constraints we put in the definition of the program is to consider the different stakeholders, not only regarding the objective, but also the constraints they have in the organization of the local energy transition, and also by taking into account the reality of data. Because we all know that we have some works or some tools with very interesting and very promising outcomes, but based on the assumption of ideal data. So this reality is questioned through the quality, uncertainty, and availability cost, but also through its access. So the idea, it was the starting point of this program to agree on the fact that all the works we have done in this program will have to be done taking into account this reality. And of course, the aim was to combine the different expertises and also the different point of view of the partners. So that's why we arrived to this composition of the partnership, which is made of electricity grid operator. So unissent, just which was presented just before by Jocelyn Boursier. We have a consulting company which is experienced in this issue of energy at the local scale, supporting the local authorities in order to propose some integration solutions. And they have this specificity of already experience on the data used for this optimization purpose. And because we wanted to have also the decision-making process on board, we have the two public entities, the Nantes Métropole and Région Pays de la Loire. In order to fuel this transformation of this program, the research part is fed by three of the engineering schools of the IMT Institute of Engineering School in France. So IMT stands for Institut Mines Télécom, and this combination of School of Engineering corresponds to the complementarity of expertise, which are defined by what I presented just before, the description of the global challenges. The specificity of this partnership is also by the fact that it represents diverse regions in France, and it's as you will see in the next slide. It is a combination of not only expertises because of knowledge on the topic, but also because of the local examples we can consider for the application of the research done in this program. And just so you can see there that it involves different cities and regions through the participations of the different partners which are located in one of or more of these regions. And just back to the slide before, this program was also homologated by the SMILE program, which was also presented in the previous presentation. So this is the structuration and the composition of this partnership. Now, how this partnership works? It's based on financial contribution of the non-academic partners, and this contribution is based on. We're going to see this in a few minutes on the identifications of the main challenges and the key questions they would like to see addressed in the program. In order to make the connection with the last outcomes and the last progress in research on the given topics to be addressed, the scientific supervision and the contribution of the academic partners is it corresponds to the equivalent contribution of the non-academic partners in this program. I mentioned that it took around 2 years to define and to start the project because we kept in mind this will to have a collective definition of the fields to be addressed and of the research topics to be done. And with the same idea, the supervision is co-supervision involving in all the works the diversity of partners, not only academic, but academic and non-academic partners. What is important also to underline is that all the results based on this research activity are shared among the different partners and are public because we intend to publish and to disseminate the improvement or the new results of the research done in this frame. And just to conclude on this slide, the type of research is applied research, as mentioned, under the form of different PhDs done in parallel, and but in interconnections. Because if now I come to the scientific activity, during this first phase of definition about the relevance of the project, and which aim to identify what would be the main challenges, you have there the different the conclusion of this first step, and all the partners, based on their own experience and based on the sharing of this experience among them, it's been identified to treat in this program the quality of data, because of what I mentioned just before, not to assume the data clean, available all the time, and possibly shared by everybody. So that was one of the main challenges. Because of the massive use of ICTs, there remains some question regarding the format of data. Data understood here as digital data. So regarding the structuring, the transmission protocols, standardization, etc. Once this data well analyzed under its quality and its format, it's important to see how this quality would affect the decision processes. And because I mentioned also that most of the decision processes are based on optimization, simulation, decision aiding, energy planning, which are themselves fed by the data, it's important to follow the impact of this quality on the decision mechanisms and decision tools used by the stakeholders. Then, if we step back a little, because of the 3 layers I mentioned at the beginning, it's also important to inject in this analysis the constraints of the stakeholders. Constraints based on due to regulations, due to competitive objectives, due to economic models, etc., etc. So this is also part of what is taken into account in the different work. And of course, there are some more scientific skills to be further developed. That's why we have also identified among the challenges the modeling and optimization improvement necessary to consider the strong coupling and the dynamic coupling between multi-energy networks for local integration. The 2 last ones, which are more connected to organizations organization between the different parties in this energy planning, are the management of the systems and the networks, and how they will be affected by this transformation of multi-energy carrier and massive distributed solutions for production and storage, and also the markets and the new idea for local exchange, not only based on technical aspects, but also on contracts and rules between the different parties. So these challenges are addressed through 7 domains, which are summarized there. So the first one is, of course, to consider the balance between production and demand when we consider these multi-energy distribution networks combined together for the gain in efficiency. The interaction between the energy planning and this strategy of decentralized energy management. the local interaction between the energy networks. So not only from the design aspects, but also regarding the control aspect of the technologies embedded in each of the individual networks and the coupling technologies between these networks together. So we know some of them, but there are some ongoing works on promising technology in order to foster this coupling. As mentioned, the market and the economic mechanisms for this new way of exchange locally the different form of energy. And everything for the three last point, everything dealing with data I mentioned, so the data sources and the possibility to share some information, the quality and the standardization. So since 2019, we have initiated different works, different PhDs, which are defined at the cross points of these 7 domains I presented just before. So the first one is the study of the potential informative aspects of data coming from different sources, coming from different organizations, constrained by what I mentioned, meaning the quality, the availability, etc. So how this heterogeneity of different sources of data can contribute to better territorial energy planning or energy scenarios. So this is one of the PhD in progress. The second one is already over. It's been defended last December. It was based on the analysis of future possible mechanisms and architectures of networks in order to have local exchange between producers and consumers. Using or not the electricity grid, because it was mainly focused on electricity. The third one is more linked to the data understood as digital data, and it focused on the uncertainty environment of smart grid. When we say uncertainty, we like for the quality of data. We have a massive deployment of IoTs for monitoring, but also for controlling some actuators. But we must keep in mind that there are some defaults in the organization. We can have some lack of information. We can have issues with some of the methods. And the idea here is to analyze how the service and the quality of managing things can maintained even in case of defaults in this flow of data because of some defaults in the IoTs connected to the grid. We have, because of the modeling and optimization issue I mentioned, which need further investigation because of the coupling between the networks. We need to find new way of optimize things with multiple objectives, contradictory and competitive objectives. Depending on the technologies, but also depending on the stakeholders involved in the combination of the system.
Bruno, can I ask you to hurry a little bit because we are running behind?
Yes, I'm almost done. The two last one is based on the sensitivity, or again, of the data used in the decision-making processes, combining the different tools I mentioned just before, and to see how it can affect the decisions and the scenario for this energy planning. So I will not go through the 3 last slides. I think the presentation will be available It's just an illustration of the different works in progress, 3 of them, in fact. So I can skip them, and I will remain available for any further explanation if needed. In particular, because everything is available on the website, and that's will be my last point. The work is a continuous work, and the program regularly begins new PhD and projects, meaning that the new ideas are welcome, as well as the new partners in case of interest of that. And being in our second year of the program, we have enough results now to start the process of dissemination. So that's why I encourage you to visit the website, where you will find all the contacts, all the details of the ongoing works and the results already published. And depending on the situation, we plan to organize a workshop or a webinar. Will depend in the month of next October. So do not hesitate here again to contact us in case of possible interest of participating on this event.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and remain available for any question if there are.
Thank you. 2 comments from my side. Maybe if you can remind us the website of the Valadoe project on the chat for everybody. And also for your workshop webinar, maybe if you can keep us informed so that we can relay the communication to all, that would be great. I don't think we have questions in the chat yet. So somebody is writing. Yeah, that's you with your website. Thank you. So.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Bruno. And I will now give the floor to Lionel Scremin from IRT Systemix for another presentation about augmented engineering and AI. Lionel is with us together with one of his colleagues and 2 colleagues, so a great team of 3.
All right.
I give you the floor, and thank you for your presentation. Thank you for being with us and for being patient until this time of the webinar.
No problem. Thank you, Ingrid. So, as they say, last but not least, this last session hopefully will boost you through the B2B and lunchtime later down the road. My name is Lionel Scremin. I'm the head of European Affairs on the behalf of Systemix Technological Research Institute. And today, with 2 of my colleagues, we'll walk you through the augmented engineering with AI, specifically tackling 2 electrical grid use cases. So before jumping to the topic, I will hand it over to my colleague to allow themselves to present themselves. So over to you, Kaina, first.
Good morning, everyone. I am Kaina Moukhan. I am a research engineer in the field of human-machine interaction, integration, and all the new thematics and human factors. I am also a system architect at the IRT Systemix.
Thank you, Kaina. Over to you, Milad.
Yes, thank you, Lionel. Hello, everyone. My name is Milad Eliabi, and I'm also a research engineer at IRT Systemix in France. I'm working in the project HSA in order to hybridize the simulation-based models with machine learning approaches.
Thank you. So, in a nutshell, what we'll be discussing today, a brief presentation of Systemix, the introduction to what we call artificial intelligence and augmented engineering through a program which nickname is IA Square, and 2 example of use cases, and we'll conclude with some outlook. So First, a brief presentation of Systemix. We are an RTO, a research and technology organization in the European sense. We are a non-profit scientific foundation based out in Lyon and Paris for our national footprints. Basically, we are a research and technology operator, meaning that we gather both industrial partners and academics to conclude some collaborative projects. We use some of our expertise lying into 8 different domains that you can find on the right bottom corner. So starting from data science up to some more technological stuff such as cybersecurity and future telecom networks. And we apply those expertise onto different domains. And usually we try to to bridge different domains in one project. We are very much focused into inter-domain application. So with main application sectors such as mobility, defense, and Industry 4.0, and sustainable development. Also, what is worth mentioning is that when we do make project, we try first to address use cases. We are not on the fundamental research of the activities, nor that we are economically driven by some ready-to-go plug-and-play application. We are right in the middle of the maturity level, and for that matter, it is important for us to tackle use cases, and upon those use cases, try to find out some solution collaboratively to answer the problem. So, as an example of what we are doing, this is the introduction of the program IA Square, in which we try to gather and make collaborative approaches between 3 separate traditional approaches, which are the first one, the physical-based models. And basically, here you can find all the scientists and engineers that work on trying to model some physical experimentation or physical activities. And in terms of science, we'll find a lot of differential equation systems, parameters, and try to address some variable of interest. The other domain is what we call the knowledge-based domain. Basically, all the experts that knows how to rule or find the good value for, let's say, potentiometers. They've been here for 10 or 20 years and trying to supervise one system, and they are able to say by rules or by experience how it can work best. And the last but not least, the learning models through data. Those kind of approach, they usually don't try to understand what's inside the box. They rather tend to use inputs and outputs and try to see how the system will evolve based on just the understanding of those data. And usually those 3 approaches don't typically collaborate well. And this is the main topic and the main subject of this program, is try to find out the good combination of those 3 tools. And each tool has its own interest, but we think that it's better having a good toolbox in which you can find the good combination of those tools. Namely, this program is called Augmented Engineering, where we try to bridge together those 3 approaches. It's a 5-year program that has been launched in 2020. It will include 6 projects. 3 of them are already on the go, and we will present 2 of them today. There is a scientific coordination with our colleagues of INRIA, which is a national French academic institute, and into this project there are 2 grid use cases. One originated from the project HSA, which is about simulation and hybrid modeling, and the other one is about project CAB, which is the cockpit and bidirectional assistant. There is an hyperlink here, and the program is well described. So now let's jump to the presentation of the first use case. Over to you, Milad.
Yes, thank you, Lina. So as Lina said, so this project concerning the combining of the simulation-based models with machine learning approaches in a hybrid platform, and it's a project issued from the IA² program. So the project started from the April 2020 and for a duration of 4 years. And the involved industrial partners in this project are the transport, the electricity transport enterprise, RTE, Air Liquide, the transportation network, SNCF, Michelin, EDF, and Airbus. And some other academic partners that are involved concerning the PhD thesis in the project, which are Sorbonne University, INRIA, and CNRS. So the objective here is to improve the quality of the simulation-based models and also to reduce the cost. But these two notions are antagonistic because there is a trade-off between them. If we want to improve the quality, we are going to penalize some cost and we are increasing some cost of the model. So in order to confront these objectives, our approach is to design a new machine learning approach which helps to hybridize the classical physical simulation with some machine learning approaches. So some examples of and some use cases that are issued from this approach can be to reduce the simulation cost through some deep learning based surrogate models or some augmented model reduction approaches that I'm going to describe a little bit more in the following slides. And also another example is to improve the simulation-based decision making in real time, because it's very costly and some machine learning approaches help to reduce this cost. And another use case can be to design some multi-fidelity hybrid systems based on heterogeneous data. So here we have to combine some low fidelity system which provide inexpensive data but which are not very precise, and combine them with some expensive high fidelity simulations and to leverage the advantage of the both. So as I said, there are different industrial partners that are involved in the project, and each partner brought its own use case in this project, which are issued from different physical domains. For example, as we can see here, we are working with different physical domains from the energy modeling and from the, for example, aircraft acoustic noise modeling and maintenance in the transportation systems and the others. So here our objective is to find a synergy between these different type of models and to be able to develop the machine learning based approaches which can be generalized in more than one use cases. And I'm going a little in more details in the RT use case, which is based on the development of an augmented simulator for electrical grid management. As we can see here in this scheme, we have an electrical network and we have connection between different elements of the network, from the generators, loads, and the other elements. So here, the industrial context is to predict the electrical grid status or electrical flow based on some actions in the network, for example, some topology changes and some exogenous factors like wind or temperatures can have some influence on the network. And for the moment, these flow computations are based on the costly physical simulations, and the simulation model that has been used in this context is developed by RTE, which is called Grid2Op, which allows to gather some simulation or synthetic data, and then some machine learning approaches can be applied from the data issued from the simulator. And so the challenges here are to accelerate the global simulation time, which is very, as I said earlier, it's very costly when using the physical-based simulations, and to develop some hybrid approaches based on neural networks, allowing for the trade-off between simulation cost and the precision. So it also will help to have some inferences in real time, which is a very problematic in nowadays. So that's all concerning my presentation. Thank you, everyone.
Over to you, Karina.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Milad, for the second project to address the smart electric grid problems. We have a CAB for cockpit and assistant bidirectional. This project is started in June 2020 for 4 years. This project will treat several use cases in different application area, like electrical grid, railway, aeronautics, and telecom, with different industrial partners, respectively RTE, SNCF, Dassault Aviation, and Orange, and with the collaboration with INRIA, and our academic collaborator. Then the aim principle of this objective is to merge the research work between artificial intelligence. In artificial intelligence, we're interested in this project on machine learning, knowledge representation, and expert systems. And in the domain of a human-machine interaction, we're interested on human factors, on human-machine interfaces. Then our objective in this project is to improve human-machine teaming through a virtual assistant based on potential of artificial intelligence by considering human factors. And by human factors, we talk about, for example, his activities, his workload, and other factors. This in using the potential of artificial intelligence by, for example, extracting professional senses from a rich and reliable corpus of data. Why? To decision support, situational identification, construction of optimal procedure solution, and the principal also objective is to communicate the relevant information at the right time. Related to scientific key points, this project is we're interested in this project to decision support in the case of complex situation, and not only with real-time optimization by integrating the context for situation explanation with symbolic digital hybridation in order to generate a new situation that an operator didn't see before, for example. And in this project, we're interested also in the problematic of co-evolution. Then the objective is to propose one assistant that evolve or with knowledge that progress in the time, with its collaboration and cooperation with the human, and also the expertise of the human progress also in the time. For example, it can progress from novice at the beginning of his work to expert over the time. All this by the co-adaptivity. We also need to have one assistant, one adaptive assistant to an operator or the user. In our case, it's not the user, but the operator who will collaborate and cooperate with this machine or this assistant system. Yeah, related to electrical grid use case, we address the problem of one operator today that is like you see in this figure, behind several screens with a massive amount of information, and he must manage several type of activities, and he need to prevent as much as possible the event and all the element on the infrastructure. To do all these activities in a comfortable situation, he needs some external assistance. And how this cab assistant can help an operator in his activities. First, by giving him support in his decision making. For example, by recommend some tasks, some solutions, by organize his tasks, by doing some tasks in the place of the operator with the collaboration and cooperation to achieve the same objective. Communicate and display pertinent information using a context data. By context data, we talk about the operator profile. For example, his stress, his cognitive workload, the system state, and the exterior environment. And this assistant can collaborate and cooperate with the operator to solve the problems. Like I said in the first slide, donc we need a co-evolutive system, and then we will propose some system who learn from the operator, and the operator learn from this system in real time. And the last help can be to anticipate some activities or problems in the place of the operator. Yeah.
So thank you, Karina. I will take it from there with a conclusive outlook. So the main topics that we've been discussing today is about hybrid AI, and we tend to provide like an incremental step forward in novel learning, combining both data and physical models and knowledge. And as you've seen, it can have many applications to electrical grid, but to any energy grid, I would say, and on the top of it, many other domain of application that would involve physical modeling. What we are looking forward also is beyond this novel learning, is try to provide some explainability and more generally trustworthiness with AI. This is not tackled in this program IA Square. It is tackled within another program that we call Confiance.ai. And in this one, we try to answer the question how to design, deploy, maintain, and certify AI-based critical systems. And for that matter, we will be developing in the next coming years a trust environment to support what we call in engineering the V-cycle of development, starting from specification and running through all the stages from conception, development, up to maintenance and operational maintenance. And this is very critical when you have to address like a corpus of data that you have to maintain over time for the learning. Now, we also try to work on the European scale, and I believe we have many European connected today, and we have expression of interest for the new coming Horizon Europe program. There are several clusters that tackle the topics that we've been discussing. Some are really more into the science and the technology with an AI-centric approach, and that would be the cluster 4 destination Destination 6, and some are more domain-oriented and energy sector-oriented, and that would lie into this Cluster 6 Destination 3. Should you be interested in those topics, I would be very glad to discuss some opportunities with you. So that's it for today. Thank you for your attention, and I will hand it over back to Ingrid or Quentin if they are online.
Thank you, Lionel. Yes, we are indeed online, of course. Thanks a lot for this comprehensive presentation and for this call for cooperation, because it's really the goal of the SmartEnergy project to help our European friends meet with our ecosystem and pursue further collaborations. So please take this opportunity to build cooperation in the future. And I will now, I think there may be some question I'm checking.
There was one actually that I tried to answer live within the post, but I'd be glad to me or Milad or Kaina provide some more insights.
Okay, if there is more question, we will check. I will go ahead and just introduce to you the program for next week, which will be our last webinar series of this 6-pack series. Next week will be specifically meant to meet with smart grid innovators, and more specifically with regional SMEs. So we have this list is not even final since we printed this slide. We have now 12 regional SMEs that have been selected to pitch for you. 6 of them are from the energy field and 6 of them from the digital sector, and all of course have to deal with smart grids. So please join us next week for this exciting session meeting with all those great SMEs. And of course, as always, we have a matchmaking time at the end of the session. To be honest, I see that very few of the participants of the webinars do connect to the B2B sessions. So maybe there are some reasons for that. Please share with us your reasons if these are technical reasons or it's time constraints or whatever. I remind you the link to register to these B2B sessions. You can apply right now for meetings starting at 12. So you have a little bit less than half an hour to ask for your meetings. But again, of course, you need to register first on the platform. I hand it over to my colleague Quentin for a short satisfaction survey. Thank you for helping us improve the quality of our events. So I let you answer the questions that you should see on your screen now. Thanks again for your participation.